Welcome. Hello. My name is Dr. Licata, and this is History 1187, the African American History course at Randolph College for the summer session. Today's video, which should be pretty short, is going to kind of go over the syllabus and talk about the Moodle site, the perusal site associated with the course, the assignments, and some of the basic expectations for this course. So let's get started. So as I just mentioned, I'm Dr. Licata, and I'm the professor for this course. We will not be meeting together, unfortunately, but because this is an asynchronous virtual course. But with that being said, I want to let you know that you're always more than welcome to reach out to me if you need any assistance or if you have any questions about assignments, about materials, whatever you need. Please feel free to reach out to me and I'll tell you how to do that here in a bit. So as I mentioned today, I want to do a couple things. So I want to talk about the syllabus and then the course schedule and some of the assignments. So I think the way I'm going to do that is by kind of starting here, but then quickly moving to the syllabus. So this is the course's Moodle site. This is kind of the space to kind of find all of the information you need. You will be on the site constantly, completing assignments and looking at materials. So please make sure that this is kind of a roadmap site. I have organized the site according to the course's weeks. So you can see all of the assignments and I've put them in order. So I'm hoping that it kind of makes a lot of sense. But if you do ever have questions about an assignment or a due date or anything, please feel free to reach out. So as you can see, each week is kind of its own section. The only thing that's currently missing from the site is that, like today I'm making a video, I will be making a couple more short videos giving a bit more information, maybe some contextual information or some more instructions and about an assignment. So those will be added to the Moodle site. But as of right now, everything else is up. So you can, if you have a lot of extra time a particular week and want to move ahead, you're more than welcome to do that, right? This class, because it's asynchronous, you can always keep moving forward and continuing to do the work at your pace as long as you're staying with the deadlines. So before we start the first week, I have some basic information, kind of important resources here. You have the syllabus, which we're going to look at in 1 second. You have a student survey. This is really quick, simple survey just to give me a little bit more information about you. Let me get to know you a little bit. As well. And so please take the time. It should take about 5 minutes. Please complete it during the first week. And then this is a resource we're going to go back to in a minute about how to use Perusal, and I will tell you all about that in a bit. So let's actually move over to the syllabus, which I have open here. Let me scroll to the top. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through some of the expectations here and what this is, but honestly, you can utilize, I have a schedule on the syllabus, but it's also on the Moodle. So you don't have to keep going back and forth, but I do include a lot of good information here on the syllabus, which is also linked on the Moodle site. So as I mentioned, I'm Dr. Justina Licata. I've been at Randolph College the last 2 years, and this is one of my absolute favorite courses to teach. So I'm so excited you're here to take it. Please feel free. Like I said, I don't have a consistent appointment time or office hours, and I will not actually be on campus at Randolph this summer. And so if you need to meet with me at any point, just send me an email, and I'm going to give you my email address. It's on a bit lower on the syllabus. But I'm happy to meet with you. So just reach out when you can or when you need anything. Please take a moment to read over the course's introduction. It talks a little bit about what we will be covering. As you know, this course covers from 1619 to the present, so we're going to be covering quite a bit of time in a very short period of time. And then I do want to make a note about this comment right here. So this course does include because African American history does include a lot of violent and difficult histories. And so one thing I want to note is that if you're ever struggling with a topic, a reading, a video, a podcast, whatever the materials, and you just can't, it's causing trauma and you can't continue with it, please feel free to stop reading it, watching it, listening to it, and reach out to me, right? So if it means that you can't complete a perusal assignment, we can maybe have you do something else in exchange for those points. But I really do not want to cause any unnecessary distress. So please do not hesitate to have a conversation with me about that if you need to. Okay, so please take the time to read over the student learning outcomes. But this is really important. Like I said, we will be in communication via email because we won't be meeting together. So this is my email address. Please, if I check it pretty consistently, especially during the week. So if you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, please feel free to reach out again. During the week. Give me 48 hours on the weekends. But I do try to even get back during that time. So please, if you need anything at all, do not hesitate to send me an email. Quick note about the late policy. Anything that's turned in late cannot receive full credit. And you have an additional week to turn in any assignments for partial credit, right? So after that week is over, you will earn a 0 on that assignment. If you do have some extenuating circumstances that it's causing you to not be able to get your work done, communication. So please reach out to me. Let me know about that. You do not need to give me any specifics or details, just so I know that you're going through something and it's causing you to not be able to get your work done. Then we can have a conversation about creating new deadlines for you. Okay, so I'm going to skip past some of this. Please feel free to look through it. Obviously, plagiarism, I will report it, so please do not do it. If you have a question about maybe if something's plagiarism, that's something to ask me, right? That's another thing you can email me about. Okay, so quickly, there's only one book that is assigned that you will need to purchase for this course. This is stamped from the beginning. It's a book by Ibram X. Kendi. It's really thick. We won't be reading all of it, but we will be utilizing several chapters out of this throughout the semester. This is a book you can get on Amazon. So please get your hands on it immediately if you have not already, because some of our first assignments are out of this reading, and you will continue to read out of it throughout the semester. Great. It's a great piece of context. I've been using it since I started teaching this course, and I really like. In fact, it's very well used. My cat even has eaten part of it, which is very rude of her. Anyway, it's a great text, and I'm excited that we will be reading it together. Any other materials that you will need to read, watch, listen to will be either posted on the Moodle site, but actually more likely on the Perusal site. So you won't have to purchase any other materials. That's a lie. There's only one other thing you'll need to purchase. It is a film that you will rent closer to the end of the session. I think it's $1.99 to rent, maybe $2.99. So that's the only thing, and you can rent it on Amazon. I've provided the links. It's all on the Moodle site. If you have questions about that, let me know. Or if you have concerns about that, let me know. Quickly, so your assignments will be kind of broken it down into 3 categories. You're going to do a weekly thought journal, which I'll tell you about in a minute. You will be doing several assignments on Perusal. And then you're going to do a lesson plan assignment that you'll complete over the course of the session. It'll actually be 4 different assignments that will then combine into this kind of final product. But you'll get to research a topic related to African American history that interests you. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Perusal and the weekly thought journals and some of this stuff, but I just wanted to show you can also access a schedule here, but you can also find all of the schedule information on the Moodle site. So let's actually go back to that so I can kind of talk through some of that for you. So as you can see, as I mentioned also, each week is separated in its own section, right? And I actually go through and give you what is due each day, right? So the very first day of class, you'll need to read 4 chapters out of this book. There is no written assignment associated with this. So if you click on this, it's just going to take you to that information, right? But I put it there so that you can just go back and have a reminder that you don't have to kind of switch back and forth between the schedule and the syllabus. The second day of class, you will have your first assignment that's due, and this is a perusal assignment. So now I'm going to talk briefly about perusal because we will be utilizing it tons over the course of the summer. So as you can see, you have 3 assignments on perusal in the very first week of class. So perusal is a site that allows you to annotate a document, a video, a podcast in real time, and you will see also your peers' annotations, right? And so it's a way for us to kind of practice taking notes on different materials, but also to have conversations with each other, right, through those materials and through your annotations. So I want to go back up here to using perusal. So this is a really great tool, and I really encourage you to go through and read all of this to get a sense of like what makes a good annotation. And honestly, I want you to be a creative, right? I've had some great annotations from students in the past that are questions, right? That are links to other things that they've learned or have heard in other courses, right? Saying like, wow, this material really reminds me of this other topic I learned about in class, or this article I read, and they've linked the article. So you can be very creative in the ways that you're annotating. Annotations are also, they can be kind of your own response to a topic, right? Your shock, your surprise about something, your, being, surprised you'd never heard of a historical figure, right? That can be an annotation, but it's also, that's more of an emotional annotation, which history is emotional, so I'm not opposed to that. But I want them to be different types of annotations, right? So you shouldn't only be kind of commenting on your own personal reflections or your emotional response to the history, but that could definitely be mixed in with questions or comments about other materials, or, more analytical comments as well. So if you have questions about what is a good annotation, please read through this and then you can ask me. I will also give you, especially in the early portion of the semester, I will give you feedback about your annotations. And I will also be responding in the perusal site. So this is a great source to kind of help you understand. I want to make one I'm going to actually tell you this in the perusal. So we're going to look at the perusal site now. What is highly important is that you have this little password to get into our course. So the way that you will go sign into perusal is you'll create an account. You'll get started. If you already have a class that has used perusal, you can log back in. And then when you create an account, it'll also ask you to include that code or that password to our class, which will actually bring you to our course, which is, I have titled Summer History 1187 Summer. I don't know why I said 2000. I will change that to 2022. My goodness, I am 22 years late. I do live in the past as a historian, which is very clear here. So all of the assignments on perusal are already in here. Sorry, I'm still thinking about that silly mistake I made around 2000. That's actually quite funny. And these are all different, right? So the first assignment will be annotating a video, right? So I'm just going to show you quickly what this looks like. And please make sure to read the instructions for the assignment. A lot of times I'm having you just provide 5 annotations, but there are occasions when I actually ask questions instead. So please make sure to check out the instructions before you start the assignment. So if you open this assignment, you will be able to play the video here. And
hi, my name is John Green. This is Crash Course World History, and today.
And then as you go, you can add a comment. So say you really were interested in the thing he just said and you wanted to add a comment, you would just click add comment, make a note, and then add it. I'm going to just include that there as an example. Okay, so if you have questions about how to use Perusall, please do not hesitate to ask. I love this tool. I've been using this tool for a couple years now, and I really like how it allows us to engage with each other. So please do not hesitate from actually responding to other students or to me. Those will count as one of your 5s, right? I would love it to see like full-on conversations happening in Perusall. It really also allows me to see kind of what you all are thinking about a document or a text or a film or a podcast, right? So I'm going to stop there, but if you have any questions about Perusall, please do not hesitate to reach out. Okay, quickly, I'm going to go back because I know this video is starting to get a little long to our Moodle site. And I want to say, so as you can see, just for the first week, you have to read those chapters out of Kendi's book. Then you'll be doing 3 Perusall assignments, 1 due the 6th, 1 due the 7th, 1 due the 8th. Those are always due by 10 p.m. on that day. And then your final assignment for this week will be your weekly thought journal. And every week you will do a weekly thought journal, responding to a specific question that I have placed here. So if you look at the instructions every single week, you will do a 400 to 500 word reflection answering that that week's thought question. So this week, I've always highlighted them in that is how did the institution of slavery create race in America? That's a big question, right? That can be answered in many, many different ways, right? There's not a singular answer. So I hope that all of your answers look very different. The only thing that I ask is that you meet the 400 to 500 word count, and that you discuss or consider and discuss at least 3 of the week's assigned primary or secondary source materials. So that can be anything out of Kendi's book, right? That can be a comment about one of the videos that we just saw by John Green. That can be some of the podcasts you're going to be listening to for this week, right? So as long as you mention and discuss in some way, some aspect of 3 different sources that you reviewed during the week, you will be completing that assignment fully, right? One thing to note, you can write these thought journals in a more personal way, so they can come from a first person perspective. You can say I, we, you, but I still also do want them to have a professional tone, right? I want them to be written in a professional way, even though you're more than welcome to really include your own reflections. If I'm seeing that that's something you're having trouble with, that's something I'll give feedback on. So when I do get some of the early ones, I will give you individualized feedback on these so that you know how you can improve over the course of the semester. Okay, last thing. So that will kind of cover your whole first week, right? You have all of those assignments due the first week. The thing that'll be different the next week and for several weeks is that every week you will also have a lesson plan assignment. An assignment associated with the lesson plan. So I'll talk about these more in the future because I know this video is already getting long, but I want you to start thinking about that. So your first one will be due July 13th, and that assignment will just be asking you, I actually will put up the instructions right now, but it will be asking you to think about a couple topics that you would be interested in researching. So to begin thinking about your larger lesson plan assignment, please start thinking about topics related to the African American experience that really interest you. And if you're having trouble thinking of those, that could be, let me actually give a couple ideas. So that could be a person, right? Say you want to write a lesson plan all about a historical figure that you're really interested in. That can be an event. That can be a place. It can be a movement, right? You can do a specific time in a social movement, right? Or the civil rights movement. So say you're interested in the civil rights movement. You could do a number of things, right? You could pick a person that participated in the civil rights movement. Say you're really interested in Ella Baker, right? You could do your whole lesson plan on Ella Baker. You could also do a lesson plan on a specific moment in the civil rights movement. Say the freedom riders that were writing down in the South promoting social justice and voting rights, right? That could be an entire lesson plan. So one of the things that I would urge you to do is to be a little bit more specific, right? The civil rights movement is a far too large of a topic to make for this assignment. Be more specific, think more narrow. If you're having a hard time coming up with kind of a narrow idea, send me an email of couple different ideas you're having and I'll help you narrow it down. Okay. And we could also set up a quick meeting to talk through it. If you're thinking about a couple different ideas and you want to just talk through it, please set up a meeting. I love talking about stuff like this. So it's kind of my job, actually. Okay. This was a long video to start. My apologies, but I'm hoping that this kind of gives you a good kind of roadmap for how this session's going to go. As I've mentioned several times, if you are struggling to understand anything I'm talking about, or if you have any questions about the syllabus or the course in general, send me an email. I'd be happy to chat with you. We could do a virtual meeting or we can just communicate via email. Whatever works for you works for me. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I'm really excited and I look forward to reading your materials and hopefully talking to you all very soon. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.